Hello friends and welcome to the tutorial. Today we are going to be drawing a fairy using the Picasso Tab and Sketchbook Pro. Let's begin. I started on a new layer, picked a dark purple colour and the pencil tool. To begin, I drew a large flattened oval shape in the middle of the page. This is the centre of the flower. Then, coming out from the centre, I drew in all the flower petals going all of the way round, making each petal slightly different in size and shape. Then I zoomed into the centre and swapped colours to a red. Using this, I drew in the guidelines for the fairy, starting with a circle for the head and curving a line down for her back. From there, I added in the arms and the legs. Drawing this stick figure guideline can help you to see how the proportions are going to look, and you can easily make adjustments if you feel that the legs need to be longer or shorter and so on. I then went to her face and started to draw in the final sketch, adding in a jawline and nose to her face. I refined the facial details, drawing her forehead coming out a little bit more, adding in a smile, eye and eyebrow. Then I used the stick figure lines as a middle guideline, drawing in the outline of the body around the guide. I drew in her back, legs, feet and arms. Once I was happy with how the sketch was looking, I went in and erased the guidelines. This is just so I can keep the sketch neat and tidy. I then added in details to her clothing, drawing in stitch lines into her trousers and top, just to give the impression that she probably made her own clothes. From there, I jumped back into the face and added in some freckles and a necklace. For her hair, I drew in large spiky tufts, 3 in total, each sitting behind each other, and a pointy ear. A fairy wouldn't be complete without wings, so I drew them in next. From there, I simply went around the sketch, finalising the details. If you ever want to move your sketch or resize it, you can use the transform tool. To outline the drawing, I turned down the sketch layer's opacity and created a new layer to draw the outlines on. Using the fountain pen, I simply traced all the lines. I like to work with the predictive stroke tool turned on, as it helps to smooth out the lines, and the fountain pen has pressure sensitivity so I can get some nice variation in my lines. To colour the drawing, I began by duplicating the line art layer, locking down the top of those 2 layers and then working in the bottom layer for the colouring process. I used the paint bucket to fill in all the areas of the drawing. I chose yellow for the flower petals, orange for the centre of the flower, a few different greens for her clothes, teal and blue for her wings, and then 3 different shades of purple going from light to dark for her hair. The last colour I placed was a light blue in the little bit of background that's peeking out from behind the flower. I then created a new layer and added in some shadows and highlights, using a darker and lighter shade of each section's colour. To select the colours, I used the colour picker, picked the colour out of the section and then used that to find lighter and darker colours. I particularly placed shadow lines on the flower centre underneath the fairy's feet and legs. For this simple block style of shading, I'm using the fountain pen and simply drawing in thick lines. I placed highlights in her hair and shadows on her arms and face. To add extra details into the flower petals, I drew in large blocks of orange and light brown, layering them on top of each other in the middle section of each petal. I like to zoom in and out and add details around the drawing until I am happy with how it looks. The final step was to add in a white outline around the top of the fairy and then some floating white circles. I placed these circles on a new layer once again and turned the layer's opacity down so the floating circles became slightly transparent. With that, the drawing was complete. I hope you enjoyed drawing the little fairy today. Thank you for watching.